Okay, cool. What do you got next?
So many tabs. Okay.
Sup, nerds? It's basketball. Welcome to Horse, a basketball podcast about everything except for the wins and losses. My name is Mike Schubert, and I'm joined by my trusted co-host, the Steph Curry ruining the return to Klay Thompson's glorious return to Golden State Warriors. I want to make sure I give you the compliment more so
yes,
than me.
I appreciate it.
It's Adam Mamawala. Adam, how's it going?
It's going fine.
Yeah, we will talk about that in full court press, but it was a wonderful, wholesome, silly, upbeat, lovely night. And then Steph Curry decided to go supernova and put the pain on his old good friend. And it was a wonderful time all around. But we've got that and more to discuss on this episode of Horse.
Yeah.
So shall we prepare to discuss this and more in the only place where we can do preparation, the Teal Memorial Locker Room?
Yeah, that's a good place to do it. And I believe the Teal Memorial Locker Room has been redecorated to reflect the funky courts. So there's new carpet.
Yes, there's new bright carpeting that hurts your eyes when you look at it on TV, inspired by the NBA Cup. I'm sorry, the EMIRATES NBA Cup. My apologies to the airline that is so blatantly sponsoring the NBA Cup. But we'll get into all that soon. But you know who blatantly sponsors this show, but we also really appreciate the blatantness of it?
Certainly our producer-level patrons. Our patrons in general, but a special shout-out to the producer-level patrons.
Yes, shout out to all of our patrons and our producer-level patrons. So shout out to those producers, Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed, Steph Curry Put Klay to Sleep.
Bang.
Hi, Trish, Chase Andrillo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby's a Vampire, Chelsea's Cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, and Mats Furli. As we have said previously, we are updating the Patreon. I think the changes will go into effect starting in October. But again, just if you are a patron, just like monitor whatever email you have for the Patreon and you'll get updates. We are in active talks with Patreon about figuring out what to do in terms of making sure that you don't get either undercharged or overcharged or whatever. So stay tuned. The new tiers at the time of recording this on November 13th are not in place yet, but maybe by the time the episode is out, what they will be, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and we're doing some fun stuff on the Patreon. I just posted yesterday, as we're recording this on Wednesday, November 13th, a new segment that's going to happen after every episode called Title Options, because every time we record a podcast, one of my jobs is to go through and listen to it and decide what strange and funny name we're going to name the episode. And now you're going to get some behind the scenes of things that we considered but ultimately didn't go with. So a little look behind the curtain, as it were.
Mm-hmm. And this episode will have a Patreon component because we're going to be later drafting the new NBA Cup courts, and obviously visuals will be a very helpful tool. So if you're a patron of any tier, you can go and watch that. But yeah, stay tuned for the updates there. And, we already talked about sponsorship. You know who else is sponsoring the show?
Tell me.
It's our sponsor, Shaker and Spoon.
Yeah.
So if you want to celebrate something cool like the return of the NBA Cup, everyone's favorite thing that we all care about.
Excuse me, Michael? It's the Emirates.
The Emirates
Cup,
NBA Cup.
Come on.
I do not want to get attacked by the airline. But yes, so if you want to celebrate the return of the NBA Cup, you can go to shakerandspoon.com/horse. You can get $20 off your first box, which is about half off. And then you will get a box that helps you make all of the sorts of different cocktail concoctions, 3 different drinks, 4 servings of each. All you got to do is supply the bottle of booze, and then boom, you're good to go. So it's fun if you're trying to impress some folks, or you're having a little party, or you just want to get into mixology. That's what Shaker and Spoon is here for. And you can get your stuff at shakerandspoon.com/horse to save money.
Boom.
Now, unless you're listening on Patreon, where you get episodes without these inserted ads, you're going to hear some inserted ads. And once those inserted ads are complete, we will get back to this episode of Horse. All right, Adam, you've been a busy man. You continue to have busyness. What's going on in your world?
I have been a very busy man. I want to shout out one of our Horse listeners who came to my show in Frederick, Maryland on Sunday. It's funny. I often start my shows by being like, be honest with me, who's here to see me and who is here just for comedy? And it can go any sort of way. In this case, there was one person to see me, and She was a horse listener. So shout out to you. You know who you are. And I'm sorry that I don't remember names well, but you seemed lovely. And thank you for bringing your friend as well. Mm-hmm. But I do have some fun new stuff coming up. As you are listening to this when it comes out, this Thursday, I will be at the Masonic in San Francisco, which I'm told is quite a beautiful venue. I'll be there featuring for Dane Cook. That will probably be the last one that I'm doing with him this year. I may have more next year, but so that's going to be on the 21st of November. Then in December on the 5th, I will be in Erie, Pennsylvania. On the 6th and 7th, I will be in Pittsburgh. I just locked in a New Year's Eve show in Albany at the Albany Funny Bone. So I'll be up there doing that. I should mention, to backtrack here, the weekend of November 22nd and 23rd, I will be doing some stuff in Toronto. Keep an eye on my website for that. I don't know exactly where I'll be, but I will be in Toronto that weekend. And then other new stuff. Chicago, I've already told you about. That's in January. I just added a full headlining weekend at Dallas Comedy Club in Dallas, Texas. That's the weekend of Valentine's Day. And, more stuff always getting added to the calendar. But check it out at my Linktree or Instagram or, anywhere you follow me. What do you got?
And then you also got an email from a listener, Keeley, who accidentally went to your show in Houston, right?
I did, yes. Yeah.
Their partner bought tickets on a whim, and then you happened to be
exactly. Yeah, I have it pulled up. I was actually going to use that as our kind of NB Q&A, even though it's not really an NB Q&A, but nevertheless, I'll share it right now.
Sure, yeah.
Because this was very fun. The subject said Houston show November 2nd, and the message says, I wanted to share an exciting happenstance occurrence for me this past weekend. I'm a longtime listener, started with Potterless and progressed to listening to all of Mike's podcasts because I just find him so fun and entertaining. So do I.
I do what I can.
I am Canadian, but currently in Houston, Texas, staying with my partner who's in school. I had wanted to make a TNO show work while I was here, but I was devastated, all caps, when we couldn't make one of the Texas shows work. Regardless, I was at peace with this. And then a fortunate coincidence happened this past weekend. My partner, last minute, I'm talking 15 minutes, suggested we go to the Dane Cook comedy show. Now, I have no idea who Dane Cook is. I have some studying to do. And we've had a long day pickleball tournament, LOL. That's no laughing matter. And you're lucky that we didn't banish you, but we love you.
You're lucky you sent this. You let us know after the fact.
But I decided to be spontaneous and go to this quote-unquote random comedy show. There's a lot of background context, and you probably know where this is going. But lo and behold, we sit down for the show, and I hear something along the lines of, please welcome something Mamawala. I did not hear Adam, but I thought, how many Mamawala comedians can there be? Spoiler alert, just one.
Just the one.
I immediately was much more excited for the show and was happy I got to see one of my favorite podcasters in Texas, even though I didn't get to see TNO. We loved your set. I knew you would be excellent, but my partner hasn't heard of yours or Mike's podcast, not for lack of my persuasion. He unsurprisingly also loved your set, and we both laughed the whole time. Thanks for the laughs. It was really cool to see what you do outside of the podcast. So very cool. Very fun happenstance. Yeah.
And what I will say to Keely, and we should probably reply to this in email, is that I had to move one of the Texas shows, so maybe she can come to one of the new dates. And this can lead into what I've got going on. So in December, I've got 3 shows. We've got 2 of the ones that were rescheduled. So we've got Vienna, Virginia on December 3rd. That one's going to be hype. We've got over 120 tickets sold already, and the show's still a month away. So come through. It's a super fun venue. It's just in a mini mall, which is great. So there's a ton of parking, and they do food and drinks and everything. Yeah, it's just a suburban show. When I did the show there last year, I was like, surely I've gone to the wrong place. And it's just in a strip mall kind of thing. So there's a guitar lessons place next to it, and then it's bar. And it's a great venue. It's called Jammin Java. It's awesome.
Oh, wow.
So that's on December 3rd. And then I've got the Texas two-step where I'm going to Dallas on the 15th and Austin on the 16th. And then I have other things that I've booked, but we're going to be announcing the tickets and on sale stuff in I think on November 21st. So I might as well say the things now, because not long after this episode goes live, those tickets will go live. So let's just get the big list in. That's going to be Hartford, Connecticut on February 1st, Baltimore, Maryland on February 2nd, Richmond, Virginia, February 23rd, Houston, Texas, so Keeley, Houston, Texas, March 9th, and then I'm doing a Midwest run, St. Paul on the 10th of April, then Milwaukee on the 11th, Des Moines on the 13th, Chicago on the 14th, Columbus on the 16th, and then going to try to add one more on the 17th, either in like Cincinnati or Cleveland or something,
Cool.
and then Montreal on May 3rd and Buffalo on May 9th. So I've been making a dedicated tour thing. Yeah, I've been working on this for like weeks with my tour guy of trying to intentionally go to cities I've never done live shows in. So that was like a big focus. And then getting back to the Midwest because I didn't do that this past year.
Very cool.
That's on the horizon. So if you go to schub.es/tour, those tickets should all be there starting on November 21st, I think. What's that Friday? Whatever that Friday is.
The 22nd.
So yeah, maybe the 22nd, something around that area.
They'll be there soon.
Yeah, check it out. Keep I'll also post it on my social medias and stuff, so you won't be able to miss it. And then I would also like to thank someone. I did a show in Boston recently, and I also am terrible with names. In general, I'm especially terrible at names at the live shows because like my brain is in 35,000 places at once, as I'm sure is the case for you as well.
For sure.
But someone at the Boston show gave me a pen from the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's just clearly one of those like simple sort of like, it's nothing. It doesn't have like a basketball on top or anything, but it does say Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame on it. And now I keep it in the studio if I ever need a pen, which I sometimes need during recordings. Great to have one right here, and it's horse themed now. So
and a good reminder for us to go to the Hall of Fame with our buddy Chris.
Go.
We've talked about it for many moons, and we must do it.
We keep talking about it, and then every time you and I are in Boston for something, we're like too busy. Like I was like, oh sweet, I'm gonna have a Boston show, it'll be great, I'll have the whole day free, and then we sold out the show, so I had to add an early show. And I was like, damn it, there goes the afternoon.
Good problem to have.
Great, what a wonderful, no, he sold out, oh dear. So yeah, all right, but now we can get into full court press. Get it, like the news?
I do, and news there be.
News there be. So there is some NBA drama afoot, and I think we should cover the drama. First up, we've got the Sixers drama, which I don't think we've covered as much, but what people worried about with this Sixers team is that when you have the combination of Joel Embiid and Paul George on the same team, it's like, good on paper, but two injury-prone guys. What happens when those guys are injured at the same time? Well, it turns out that was the beginning of the year. So started off kind of rough with them not being on the team a lot. Now, as of recording last night, Joel Embiid played his first game in a stunning loss to the New York Knickerbockers, my beloved New York Knickerbockers. But the Sixers are 2-8 right now, which is tied for second worst in the entire league. Yeah. So that's not ideal. But the real thing that caused a lot of the drama, and it re-bubbled up last night because of it being Joel Embiid's first game, is that at some point Joel Embiid just stated straight up that he's not playing in back-to-backs anymore. This was something that caused a lot of drama, both like in the NBA media community. Obviously, all the old players like Shaq and them are like, screw this. Kevin Garnett like eviscerated him. But then also that is, I think, what really led to, and I think we alluded to this in a previous episode, but I think that's what led to the official like $100,000 fine from the NBA for them basically saying, the Sixers saying that, this guy's not going to play in games even if he's healthy. And some of those back-to-backs will be nationally televised, so I guess they'll have to like try to figure out to make sure he's playing the nationally televised games.
To clarify, when you say back-to-back, do you only mean when they have games on consecutive days?
Correct. Okay. Yes.
You're not saying I don't know. I guess is he planning to like take every other game off? Is it that drastic?
No, he was explicitly saying that he doesn't plan on playing. It was this, I don't know if it was like a podcast interview or a media day thing, but he was saying that like this year he's really trying to focus on health and conditioning so that he can be ready for the playoffs. And he went on to say that he's not planning on playing back-to-backs this season. And he doesn't think he'll do so for the rest of his career.
Jeez.
And that is like, people like, that's a wild thing to say. Yeah. That's a bad look. It's like, it's one thing if like that was the plan, but like just don't say that out loud. I'm sure the Sixers PR team was very disappointed that he did that. But he got torched by a bunch of media heads. And then in this game against the Knicks last night, he came out looking kind of rusty. He, at the half, only had 8 points, and they were all from free throws. So Shaq, of course, destroyed him and just laid into him saying, like, look, either you got to show up every night Or if you're going to do this whole, like, I'm resting, I'm not playing the first couple games of the season, I'm taking back-to-backs off, like, then you got to, like, dominate when you're playing. You got to get out there. And then he also trashed him for I think he only took 3 shots in the first half. He's like, look, if I'm going to miss all my shots in the first half, I'm going to take 15 shots. Like, I'm at least going to be trying. So,
also,
Shaq,
condolences to anyone who has Embiid on their fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, if you're picking him, like, it's never a smart decision at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so risky. It's just so risky. But that has caused lots of drama, and I'm glad that the Knicks could contribute to it by beating the Sixers last night.
On a less dramatic note, I do have another Knicks-Sixers game related tidbit that I'd like to share with you. Celia and I went out to eat last night at a local bar that had the game on, and we're kind of like half watching it, and at one point she goes, like, out of the blue, she's like, am I crazy, or does one of the guys on the 76ers have, like, a very large butt? And I like almost spit out my drink because
a genuine Kyle Lowry. That's the best.
Yeah,
that's
without
awesome.
any context or knowing that that's like a thing that people talk about. She
That's so
clocked
cool.
it out of the corner of her eye. That's how big his butt is. And
That's
there's no
awesome.
shame in that. Let me be clear.
No,
There's
not
nothing
at
wrong with
all.
being thick.
Look, I aspire to people having conversations about my butt. That's like the true dream. So
yeah, I mean, and you're a podcaster, so just they would know through your voice that you've got such an incredible butt that you would exude that sort of energy. But it's very funny because I then got to I got to then show her all the ridiculous photos, and I shouted out our former producer level patron Kyle Lowry's jean shorts. You know. What a time.
A fun time. What a time. So yes, that's great. That's really good. What a fun tidbit. Other drama related things, not going well in Milwaukee. If you are a member of the team or a fan of the team, the Bucks are 3-8. This is doing wonders for my beloved New York Knickerbockers in terms of they were off to like kind of a slow start, but we're 5-5 and we're still top 4 in the East because these two teams who are supposed to be in the top 4 are not doing well. So the Bucks aren't doing so hot. Doc Rivers doesn't really seem to have like the team together. They're thin. They're in terms of like they're not deep in terms of their roster. They've got injuries that they're dealing with. It's just not flowing well. And Giannis is still playing quite well, but yeah, that's just not enough. Yeah. And he has finally started to like express some grumpiness. There have been kind of like those initial talks of, oh, you know, I don't even know if I'm going to be around here. Like, what if they trade me? So I don't think it's full-fledged, like, get me out of here territory. But these are the kind of comments that precede either like, hey, get me out of here, or hey, put a team around me. It's reeking of like LeBron at the end of his tenure with the Cavs. Each time he kind of did these things of like, you got to start making some moves. He's not like doing it as directly, but just like the grumpy comments coming from Giannis feels like it's one of those two operatives. But the problem is, and this was also reported, I think by Brian Windhorst of ESPN, that the Bucks tried to figure out any sort of trade that they can make, but because of the new CBA apron rules that restrict people who are spending more than like the salary cap on their team, apparently it's like really hard for the Bucks to make any sort of move. So like, I don't know if they have the option of trying to like put stuff around Giannis. So I don't know. Could get really dicey in Milwaukee.
Well, it almost makes you think that maybe Doc Rivers isn't such a great coach.
No, he doesn't seem to be.
It's not just his fault. There's other like structural issues too.
And also, like, apparently the reporting was that Giannis was like really trying to get Doc to be the coach. So like, you've kind of dug yourself in this own hole. It's a very interesting situation. And it's one of these things where like a lot of teams like had been waiting to see if Giannis would get grumpy and force his way out. And then he signed the big contract extension and kept saying he wants to be in Milwaukee forever. So all these teams like the Knicks were like, all right, fine. And then traded for other people. But now it's like, are you going to try to get him?
It's really bizarre. I mean, this may have changed by the time you're listening to this, but as of this recording, the last time I checked, there are 2 teams in the entire Eastern Conference who are above 500.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. And
13 are 500 or below.
Right. Yeah, you've got the Cavs undefeated, the Cavalanche, and then the Celtics are 9-3. And then, yeah, you've got 500 teams.
And it's the reverse, obviously, in the West, because there's only, I think, 4 teams that are under 500.
There are 5 teams under 500 because now the Mavs lost last night. But yeah, it's wild. And this is one of those things like it'll probably even out over the course of the season, but it is like a jarring start to it. But if you dig yourself in that hole, it just becomes that much harder later down the road. Like, yeah, slow start, but like, I don't know. We're at the point where like teams have played 12 games. Some teams have played 13 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a fifth, a sixth of the season at this point. So
that's
it's not
a good percentage. So like, you kind of got to get it together. So it's interesting to see what's going on in Milwaukee. We'll see how the drama sort of shakes out there.
Well, as someone who's actually a fan of a team who could compete this year, how afraid of the Cavs are you? Do you think that this is, I mean, clearly they're not going to go 82-0, but like they look really good. The Bulls played them the other night. Actually played a pretty good game against the Cavs, all things considered. But yeah, like I don't think that they were on anybody's radar as coming out of the gate quite like this. So what do you think is happening there?
I think Kenny Atkinson is a very good coach, and I think he is a very good coach for young people as well. We saw him with that Nets team from a while ago, like the pre-Harden KD Nets, or I guess pre-Kyrie KD Nets, and they were fun, and people were like, wow, these Nets are way better than we thought. I think he's just a really good coach. Now, I am not super nervous about the Cavs because, as I believe I said at some point in a previous episode, they reek of the DeMar DeRozan Toronto Raptors to me. They're going to be amazing in the regular season, and then I think they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Really?
I just don't fear them in terms of like their players, just because like it's just like Donovan Mitchell, they just seem game plannable. I think it'll take some time because I think the Cavs like rapidly changed, but I feel like if you have the dedicated time of like we will be playing 7 games maximum against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think you can game plan around them. Maybe I'll be corrected, but they have looked really good, but I just don't think that they're like the true playoff thing, because you'll see in the playoffs like certain teams, like if you have someone like a Durant or a Jokic or someone that's just like, all right, or even Jason Tatum, it's like, all right, put your best guy on our guy and see how it goes. And I'm just like not that scared of any of their people individually. And
even
I just
Donovan
feel like
Mitchell, I feel like he can score in bunches.
He can, but I'm just not that scared of him, especially if I'm the Knicks. Like, okay, have fun with OG Anunoby guarding you. Like Donovan Mitchell's 6'2". Like I'm just not terrified of him the way that I am terrified of like Luka Doncic. Like, what do you do? Steph Curry, what do you do? Like you can't do anything. So I think they're very good. I think they could even win the East. I'm just not worried about them in the playoffs. And maybe this will age so poorly, but
yeah, we'll see.
They reek of those Al Horford, Kyle Korver Hawks. They reek of the DeRozan Lowry Raptors. I just think they're going to be amazing in the regular season and then be a fart noise in the playoffs.
Yeah.
At least this time around, because they're so new. Maybe next year they're like a powerhouse, but like, I just don't know. That's my instinct.
We shall see.
We shall see. Now, final thing, we mentioned it in the intro, but Klay Thompson, Captain Klay, returned to Golden State for his first appearance as a non-member of the Golden State Warriors. He was there with the Mavs, his new team, and the Warriors did a promotional night. They did the Captain Klay hats, so like those sailor, like white, blue, navy blue brim with the gold laurel kind of thing, hats with a little Golden State Warriors logo in the middle. I think like he had worn one of those before, like they gave it to him as a gift because Klay used to take a boat to the Chase Center. He would boat to work every day. Yeah, you don't know about this?
No.
Yeah, he had like a little boat, and then he would take that across the bay to
that's pretty cool,
to practice and play and stuff, which is so cool. He had a video once of him doing it, like he took a selfie of him doing it and his hat flew off and fell into the water. It's a whole thing. So this is this thing that he used to like take a boat to the game. And what they did was they gave everyone in the arena a free hat, or at least a certain, amount of people, a free hat, which is super cool. And the TNT guys had them too. I'm so glad this game was on a TNT thing because all of the guys were wearing the hats. Charles Barkley like really had to struggle to get it on, and then they had to alert him that it was they had to alert him that it was a snapback. He didn't have it adjusted at all. So they're all making fun of him. And then I tweeted this out, but just like the sheer joy on Charles Barkley's face when he got the hat to fit properly, he just did this big smile. It was so fun. And then as the game continued, like as the coverage continues, they're doing the pregame thing, the halftime thing, whatever. Ernie Johnson keeps his on, perfectly fit on like the whole time, full series. Shaq has his tilted like 45 degrees to the side, like, and they just leave them on the whole time. And it's like, of course, sometimes they're being silly, but other times they're like talking about thorough analysis while they're wearing these goofy hats.
I love that.
So good. So the game itself, I don't know if you watched, but
I saw some of the highlights, but I didn't get to watch.
Yeah. So I watched it last night. The tribute video to Klay was awesome. It was really cool, like nice, good, not like super long and played out, but it had some of his achievements, like when he set the record for most points in a quarter, most threes in a game, all that kind of stuff. Had some clips of him with his championship winning celebrations, all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. They did that to open the game. Crowd went wild. It was awesome. There was a really cool moment where I think it was Spencer Dinwiddie. You could see him reading the lips of him talking to like a rookie about like how much the crowd loved him. And he mouthed, or at least like the cameras, you could read his lips saying like, that's 4 championships. That's 4 championships. Like,
that's cool.
That's what winning so many rings will do for a fan base. Like you're just a legend. It was really cool. And then the game itself was awesome. Like it came out, Klay took the first shot, got fouled by Steph. But like there was a whole like Klay was playing hard, Steph was playing hard.
Klay hit the Steph shimmy after a 3.
Yeah, Klay hit that. He also hit like a classic Klay shot in the fourth quarter. If you go to YouTube, you can watch the final like 5 minutes of the game where they do this really cool thing now, the NBA YouTube, when games have like really good endings, they'll just do the perfect thing, which is it's all of the game footage, but they just delete like commercials, timeouts, free throws, etc.
Yeah.
So it's just like a no nonsense thing, and it's on YouTube for free. So they had that for this game, and it was just like a back and forth thing. Klay makes one of his classic Klay shots. Like it was weird to see him make that shot in the Chase Center, not wearing a Warriors uniform, because it was the classic like run to the like side, not corner, but the top of the break, like a wing 3, just classic Klay form where you're like, oh, wait a second, that's the wrong jersey. That's the right arena, but it's the wrong jersey. He hits one of those. Then, of course, Steph like goes nuts. He has like a really good floater play at one point, and then eventually hits like the dagger 3, does the night celebration at the end and everything, screams to the crowd, screams, don't bring that shit here, don't bring that shit here, out loud, screams at the cameraman and everything. It was awesome. And then, of course, a lot of NBA players feel vindicated. Our buddy Aaron Edwards, who was on the podcast before, tweeted out that clip from Thor Ragnarok where Loki cheers when Thor gets beat up by the Hulk and goes, that's how it feels. Like just the whole world seeing like, haha, Steph has now nighted Klay. But it was a really good game, really good back and forth. And Steph was Steph, man. He's still Steph. Draymond had a nuts game too. Like he started off, he made like 2 or 3 threes, had this wild play in the first quarter where he like ran, blocked a shot, saved the ball from going out of bounds, and then they got a dunk off of it. Like Draymond seemed very amped up to defeat Klay Thompson in his return, and it was a really good game. The Warriors are playing really well.
Yeah.
They are another surprise. I think they're the Western Conference surprise of the season. They are off to a really hot start. Steph and Draymond look like vintage Steph and Draymond. It's ridiculous. And Wiggins is playing well again. It's wild. It's fun in Golden State.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how much these starts are maintained. Like, it'll be curious to see where we're at, like, even next episode or a month from now, just to see if, like, do the Cavs fall off a cliff? Do the Warriors come back down to earth? But it's fun at the beginning to, like, dream a little bit if you're a fan of one of the teams that's coming out hot.
Yeah, and it'll be a weird end of the season, too, because unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of injury stuff going on.
Ton of
injuries. Chet
injuries.
Holmgren got hurt. Isaiah Hartenstein was hurt to start the year. John Morant got hurt. Like, there's been a lot of funky injuries, and a lot of ones from, like, people falling from either dunks or plays or whatever. Like, there's been a lot of freak injuries, too. So that's going to also, I think these playoffs are going to be really weird because you've had, like, some good teams start off so cold. You've had some other teams get hurt. There's all these 500 teams. Like, I think playoff seeding is going to be bananas by the end of the year. It's going to be this weird, like, oh, the 3-6 matchup, but the 6 seed is better. Like, it'll be weird. We're going to have a weird playoff.
And you also might get some people who, like, haven't played that much during the regular season, and then they're fresh for the playoffs.
True. Yeah. It also could be, like, really spicy fighting for the play-in spots because of the whole, like, how long have people been out? So I think we're going to have a weird year, and I'm looking forward to some chaos. It's perfect for us.
Totally.
Now, let's get into what we're doing to conclude this episode. And we're going to be doing another draft. We've talked about the EMIRATES NBA Cup, and now we're going to be drafting the courts. So if you are a patron, you can go to patreon.com/horsehoops and you can watch the video version. I will start the video recording of this, and we'll do a screen share and everything so that people can see. So we will get all of that ready to rock, and then we will be drafting the courts. I think the courts, I will say overall this year, I think are a huge improvement over last year's courts, mainly because they don't have the stripe. So last year, they all had this thing where they had like the bright colors and stuff. I don't mind the bright colors. Like some are a bit more jarring. I think red looks rough on a television, but I think the stripe last year was like really weird and jarring. It was kind of like a fun thing because it was as wide as the paint, the area, where people gather around when they shoot free throws and stuff, the little rectangle area on the court. But it just made it look really funky. And I think these mostly, the general memo clearly was one color background. There's these 3 circles where it gets like faded, slightly darker as it goes in. So there's like a wider, lighter outer circle, a darker middle, and then a darker center circle, like your classic tip-off kind of circle. And then there's like a pattern on the background and then some sort of logo in the middle. So clearly the directive was like, hello teams, make these a little less chaotic. And I think they all look a lot better. Obviously there's some that are better than others.
Yeah, there's still some duds, but generally speaking, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah. So I will now on the Zoom call share my screen, and I will at least just share the window where it's got the article to all of them. We will also link this in the episode description on the podcast player, so you can kind of, have this open on your phone or your laptop or whatever. Not if you're driving. And you can watch along if you don't want to, join over on the Patreon. So let's do our rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the first pick.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Both scissors already. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Both scissors again. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Aha! Paper to cover rock. Aha. You thought I'd go third, scissors.
I did.
Alrighty. So, my first pick in the draft, I will be taking the Houston Rockets. It's so good. They, I believe, whether this was intentional or not, it seems like they are the only people who utilized the force-mandated circles to be the part of the theme. So to me, how I would describe this is that I guess it could be like hyperspace if you're, in outer space and going. So it could look like that. So for anyone not seeing what it looks like, it's a red background, darker to lighter from the circles. And it's got these like streaky, like white lines. So if like you're watching Star Wars and they go into hyperspace, or it kind of looks like, especially with the circles, like a rocket taking off. And then that's like the motion lines like coming off of the exhaust or something. It just feels very rockety without having a literal rocket there.
On Yahoo Sports, the comment was, "This is what happens when you watch Star Wars the night of a deadline."
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it looks super cool. No matter what direction you take it in, I think it's nice. I think it looks very thematic, and it's not super distracting. And I like that the red is darker, so I don't think it's going to look as jarring on the TV. I haven't watched a Rockets NBA Cup game, but I just really like it, and it just looks... It really looks like a coherent design, and I really appreciate it.
It is fun. There's no question about it. Even though what you said earlier about like sometimes red can be a little hard to watch on a screen, but yeah, it's pretty solid. All right, my first pick is going to be the Portland Trailblazers.
Ooh, yeah, that's a really good one. I will now scroll to the Portland Trailblazers thing for screen
recording.
The
Trailblazers, nothing too inventive in the middle of the court. It's just the kind of standard Trailblazers logo, and then below that on the bottom of the court it says
I can full screen it. Ooh, I just learned I can full screen it.
There you go.
Look at it. Oh.
But what's really cool about it is the kind of subtle rose design in the back of the court. So the out of bounds area is in red, and then the court, I guess that would be is that like a gray?
Yeah, they've been doing this where it's like a charcoal. They utilize that a lot when they do jersey designs and stuff. But it makes sense because at least like part of their design is black, white, and red.
Right. And what's cool about it is like the roses you can see them, but they're not too distracting. Like it's a better version of that really bad Warriors jersey with the flower on it. And it's very cool.
Yeah, and I like that they have underneath on the out of bounds line, they have the City of Roses with like a thorn going through it, which is cool. And if anyone goes to Portland, I would highly recommend going to, I don't know what it is. It's like the Rose Garden. I don't know. I think it's part of the Botanical Garden, but they have like a thing, I think it's by one of the universities in Portland where they do like experiments with roses and like experimental crossbreeding and stuff. And you can just see like the wildest roses you've ever seen. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It's super cool. Okay, very cool number 2 pick. I am going to be picking with the number 3 overall pick, the Toronto Raptors.
They were high on my list as well. Good
It's
pick.
very cool. They've clearly leaned all into the Vince Cartering of this season, which we should say, like, all that jersey retirement stuff has happened and it seemed really cool. They've put up murals. Like, it's awesome. Now, what they've done for this core is they've gone with like that. It's such a nice shade of purple. It's a really nice shade of purple that looks good light and dark. So this one, it starts lighter and gets darker as it goes in. The outside almost looking like a lavender and the inside being more of like the purple you would imagine of their logo. But it's like a nice, like kind of muted purple to where it's not like super distracting, not super deep. And it's got the pinstripe lightning bolty zigzags that those classic 90s Raptors jerseys had.
Yeah.
And it just looks really nice. They've got their modern logo in the middle, so it still feels like a nod to their current team. Just feels like a perfect mixing of the old and the new. I think they might be the only team to have utilized purple in their core design, so that's really cool. And I just think it looks awesome. The subtle pinstripes look really, really nice.
Yeah, I like it. All right, my next pick, and accuse me of being a homer if you must, the Bulls court is pretty sick.
Oh, I had them in 23rd overall.
What? I genuinely don't understand that.
I will explain my reasoning. I think it's a little nitpicky, but let me pull it up on the stream for people. Why'd you pick the Bulls besides being a homer?
So the Bulls, the Bulls were one of the teams to utilize, I guess, what I'll call giant logo. So what they do is they have a Bulls, like the typical Bulls logo in the middle on top of the trophy, but then behind it is a enormous, like, kind of silhouette version of that same logo that essentially takes up the entire court. Below that you have See Red, which is like the Bulls slogan, and I like that they have the Bulls logo as the hole in the letter D. And then you just have Chicago on each side in kind of the standard font, and then United Center, which, whatever. That's what the sponsor has always been. Why did you not like it? I think it looks really clean, and the color schemes are fun.
What I don't like is that in the middle, you have the logo, and then behind it, you have the same logo. A lot of teams were doing a thing where you'd have like one logo and then like an alternate logo behind them, or an alternate in the center and the main one behind. I just think it doesn't look as good to have like that logo and the big one with the outlines specifically. And I'm glad you mentioned the like See Red silhouette thing. I think this court looks way better if the bull in the background is a silhouette. Now, I think that would violate what the NBA was clearly trying to do here with the like 3 circles and stuff. So I think that was more of just like the design wouldn't allow for it. But I don't know. I didn't enjoy the like, it just felt like, okay, yeah, we picked a bull in the middle and then a bull behind the bull. It just felt like very simple to me. And I would have enjoyed something a little different. Like, I thought it would have been cool, like that old Chicago script font that they used on jerseys back in the day. I thought that would be cool. Like the Clippers did that for theirs, where they have like their logo and then the script Clippers behind it. I thought they could have done like the Chicago skyline or something.
Right.
I don't know. It just felt like they were just like, oh yeah, logo. Okay, we're done.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's all good. All good. That's why it's it's not. That's why we have 2 people on the show, different perspectives.
It's true.
All right. So number 5 pick, I will be picking the Charlotte Hornets. It just looks correct. I feel like the Hornets have had courts that look pretty similar to this, so it doesn't feel super jarring. Like if you were watching a Hornets game, you wouldn't be like, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. So it's like lighter teal on the outside going into darker teal. They've got their modern logo in the middle. It's got the honeycomb hexagons going throughout the whole thing. I know they have a court that they've used recently where like inside the 3-point arc kind of has this with like the teal and stuff. And definitely back in the 90s, they had like these bright, like gradient teal ones. So it feels like a correct homage to the team. Just fits really well. The, bluish, purplish outside border looks really nice. And I think it's just like a very cohesive fit. And it just feels right. It says the hive is alive underneath, which is fun. Just feels correct.
What color do you think their locker room is?
Oh, it's got to be teal. It's got to be teal.
You got to hope that it is. It would be kind of a bummer
hope.
if it weren't.
Yes,
all right.
It would be.
Well, I guess I clearly like a certain style, and maybe you did not like this if you didn't like the Bulls one, but my next one is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, I had that one really high because I think that it works well with their logo. I actually had them like 2 picks away, so I had them at number 8.
Yeah, so basically this one is, I guess, a little different because in the middle you have their kind of like new logo, which is I don't know, it's a pelican holding a basketball with its wings spread out, but the background of it is like a very zoomed in kind of shadow version of that Pelican face. So you don't see the whole logo because you see just like maybe the middle third of it kind of stretched out and behind the main logo and trophy. So yeah, I think the Pelicans jerseys were pretty high for me as well because they had the voodoo sort of thing going on. It would have been cool to see more of that incorporated, but.
Right. I think they're trying to separate the like they might have a voodoo court as well. I think they're separating NBA Cup from the city jerseys, which one of my biggest regrets. I think I did take the jersey in that draft. I should have taken it number 1 overall. The herringbone is just too good.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But I do really like it. I think this works better than the Bulls one for me because the lines around the Pelican are thicker, so it's less like the Bulls one had like the thin, lighter lines. This one is like thicker, darker lines to make up the logo, as opposed to the Bulls one. It's like the lighter color is the outline border and it's just thin. Like this feels more like, especially with the big angry eyes being at the top, this one just feels like the presence of the Pelican is behind you.
Right.
As opposed to the Bulls one just felt like, oh, it's the bull and then the bull. For some reason, I just think this one has a different vibe to it. So I like it.
Totally fair.
All right, my next pick. So number 7 overall, I will be picking the Milwaukee Bucks. I think it looks pretty cool. It's got their logo in the middle. Then around the free throw line and all that kind of stuff, they have like horns of the deer, but it's a little different than like their main one. They've kind of made it more condensed, so there's like a lot of horns. I just think it looks nice because by these basically being circles on either end of the court, and then you have the circle of the darker blue in the middle, so it goes like lighter blue to darker blue in the middle. And it's this nice like faded blue that they've been using as their alternate jerseys and tertiary color. I just think it looks like really cohesive. Thank you. With the circular effect. So you've got like the circles on the outside, the circle in the middle, the circle around like where they do jump balls around the free throw line, the circle of their logo in the middle. Like it just feels really nice. And I just think it's like not too distracting, very thematic, a different change of pace from them by having the blue. Just think it looks nice. The fear of the deer underneath is nice. The font looks really cool.
Yeah.
I just like it. I think
their
it looks
court
nice
is more intimidating than their team right now.
Yeah. But hey, that's okay. But no, I just think it looks really nice.
Yeah. All right, my next pick, and I'm going to say before I get to this that I just remembered that for anyone who's watching on Patreon, I am on camera. If you're wondering why I'm holding a tissue, I'm not dying and I'm not sick. I'm having an allergy attack in the middle of this podcast recording, so I'm just going to let you in. Hopefully you don't hear it that much if you're only listening to this, but for anyone who's watching this right now, I'm okay. Things are going to be fine, but I am struggling. I am struggling at this moment. All right, my next pick is going to be the Indiana Pacers.
Interesting.
Really like the color scheme, even though this particular phrase is traumatic for me because it reminds me of when the Bulls and Pacers played in the 1998 playoffs, and there was a very dramatic Reggie Miller shot that vanquished the Bulls in I think it was Game 4. But anyway, it has the Pacers logo in the middle, nothing too interesting there, but then it says "Boom, baby," which is the famous quote from their broadcaster from many years ago. I don't even know if that guy's alive, but that was like what he would always say. And Boom Baby is both listed at the bottom of the court in the out of bounds area with a Pacers logo incorporated into it, and then also in like shadow lettering behind where the main logo is. Did you not like this one?
I just don't like the big text. Boom Baby also just feels like so cheesy. I don't know. Like it doesn't to me, and I'm sure like Pacers fans are eating it up, but like Boom Baby, if you're going to do a thing that's like a thing that the announcer says, I feel like it's got to be one that's unique. Like no one else says bang except for Mike Breen. Boom Baby feels like a more common phrase. So like if the Knicks had a huge one that said bang, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or like I'm trying to I can only think of like baseball ones. But,
speaking of that, I kind of call bullshit on a John Sterling apologist calling anything corny.
But he's super corny, but he does, it's like
baseball reference
thing. Yeah, he does different things for everyone. I just think I'm not even saying Boom Baby's corny. I'm just saying like it just seems too generic of a phrase to make like your entire branding of like a thing that a lot of people said. Like it's a major thing. What was it, like Emperor's New Groove or whatever? Like Boom Baby. I don't know. It just feels like a common phrase that's used a lot. It does look cool. I will say
but like I think bang is a word that other people use, but if someone makes it their own, then like what's the difference?
I think the difference is that I could hear a normal announcer say "Boom Baby," and at least my instinct would not be like, "Hey, he's ripping off the Pacers guy."
Right.
But if anyone else said "Bang," it'd be like, "All right, Mike Breen Jr."
Yeah, that's fair.
like that's my thought. I will say the way that they've incorporated the Pacers logo into the double O is very cool because basically the top portion of the P in the Pacers logo is into the O. Like it looks really cool in that regard.
There's
so I
like
think
some
that's
motion
nice.
to it, which is cool.
Right. I think the Boom Baby like thing, it does look cool. I guess I just don't love it as a court, but I guess if you're the Pacers, like what else are you going to do? So I think it's fine. It was just kind of like lower middle-ish for me.
Yeah.
But that's all. No,
All right. What do you got next?
I respect it. Next, I will be taking the Philadelphia 76ers.
That's literally the next one up on my list. So good call.
Ayo. So this one, and I watched the game last night. The Knicks-Sixers game was played on this court, so I have experience looking at it. It's nice. So it goes from lighter blue to darker blue in the center. It's got their 76 like scripty font where the 7's red, and it's got the stars, the 13 stars above the 7. It's 13, right, for the colonies, I think.
Yep.
And then in the background, their pattern is in the middle circle. They have the stars going around it, and it just works really well with their logo. It's not too distracting and jarring. Like when you're watching the court on the game, you're like, oh, stars, because the Sixers. Yeah, like you can see it, but really there's only like 5 stars in line on either side because the other ones are getting cut off of the 13.
Well, there's
like
plenty
3
of
out
stars.
them
They
are
just
cut
don't play back to backs.
Yeah, they are cut off. It's funny because they go into the bench area.
Right.
So the stars really are on the bench. But no, I just think it looks nice. Like they've used this stars in a circle logo a lot. So for them to incorporate that into a court design where circles is a major theme, I just think it makes sense. And you got brotherly love on the bottom. So I think it looks really nice. I think I was just a sucker for people utilizing the circle motif, and the Sixers did that.
Yeah, I like it. All right, my next pick is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, they have a good one.
Yeah, and this was kind of a good example of what you alluded to before where they have different logos. So in the middle, they have their new logo, which is like a boat, which is what a clipper is. And I feel like a lot of people don't even know that. But then they have clippers in their kind of classic script font diagonally across the court. And that looks really cool visually too, because it like starts on the bottom left and ends in the top right, which is, I think, like the cadence of it anyway. But then...
Yes, it's always angled.
Exactly, but... It looks cool. I don't really care that much about logos in general for corporate sponsorships other than crypto, which I actively despise. But like Intuit Dome looks fine there as well. The red and blue looks good. Yeah, I think it's just like a clean looking design.
Yeah, I think it looks nice. My next pick is the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this one there's a couple of different cities that have done this where they have put the city skyline behind it. Dallas, I think, like they like their skyline a little too much for a skyline that has like 5 buildings in it. But I will say, of all the skyline ones that were here, I think it's like the Mavs, the Lakers, and the Knicks. The Mavs did the best job of it in terms of like the color contrast, you actually being able to see it, and then making it the appropriate size. You'll see my critiques when we talk about the Lakers and the Knicks ones in a sec. But like they've got their classic thing. They've got that one thing with like the sphere on the top and their big arch thing in that one part.
Yeah, what is the thing that looks like a St. Louis arch almost? Like, what is that?
They basically just have a thing in a park that I think they made it to be like, let's make the skyline look cooler. Like it's in a park I've been to. Like it looks kind of cool. It's like a twisting sort of like white thing. But yeah, it's just like an arch for arch's sake. I think it might be in a sculpture garden kind of thing where there's like other stuff around it as well. But yeah, they've utilized their skyline in jerseys recently as well for the past couple of years. So this feels very like thematic in terms of the Mavs branding of late. So it felt quite cohesive there. And then I also will say I do like that they have this thing at the bottom where it says Mavericks, and then they have Dallas like in between the letters. So it goes like M blank A and then a little D and then a V and a little A and an E and a little L. So like Dallas is within Mavericks. I think that's like fun. At least they're doing something different. It's the side of the court. Like do something weird. Who cares? So I like utilizing city skylines as backgrounds. And I think the Mavs did the best job of the 3 teams who decided to do that.
Fair enough. All right, my next pick is going to be the Denver Nuggets. I was a fan of their court. I thought it was a lot better than their weird 5280 jersey, on which I still maintain they should write the numbers out in letters.
That'd be cool. That'd be so cool.
But yeah, so this one has it's kind of a new school Nuggets logo with some picks that I guess one would use when they are searching for nuggets of gold. Very Yukon Cornelius of them. And then it has Mile High City. So miles in the top left, high is in the middle, and city is on the bottom right. And also, a lot of people get high in Denver as well. So there's that going for it. I also like the ball logo. I'm a sucker for the ball logo. I know they perhaps do some nefarious things sometimes, but good looking logo. I
don't think they actually do. I think we thought they did.
Oh yeah, I think we were wrong about that. But the only thing that I don't like, I wish that the out of bounds area were the same color as the logo. I think that would look nicer.
Oh, the blue.
Yeah, and it says elevation 5280, which again, Mile High City. But it's small enough that it doesn't offend me. So I like that one.
Yeah, I think the reason they did the red is because their color scheme is the red, the blue, and the gold. So they didn't have the red anywhere else. So they're like, now we have the full scheme, which I hate that this is their color scheme now. They got to go back to the baby blue. So much better when they were the baby blue.
Yeah,
we don't need another red and blue team. I think it's fine. I wasn't a huge fan of the text Mile High City. Just like the font just felt like they picked like the third choice down on Google Docs.
Right.
And I think they could have picked something like, why was it not just written in the Nuggets font was my question.
It's a good question.
Like, why not just do it in their standard font? I think something that's very fun is around the elevation 5280, they have these little like gold explosion things. And then they also have it in the top corners as well. It's just in one though. It only
just
in the
looks
top
like
left corner.
Like a diagonal star kind of.
Right. But they've nothing written on the top. And they just had it in the top left. It feels like someone was copy pasting it into the file to then like drag down to put in around each side of elevation 5280. And then they forgot to like delete the original one, or they like had two and they didn't, they copied it instead of like cut or whatever. Right. It just feels like a mistake. I don't know why it's there. Okay, my next pick is as much as I hate to say it, back to back I hate to say it picks of picking Dallas and then Boston, but I'm going to pick the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
I like most of this. I've never been a fan of the black Celtics jerseys and stuff. I just think they have such like classic jerseys. Like, why are we doing all the stuff that they do with black? But as far as a court, the green is cool. I think they're the only team to use like a dark green. The Timberwolves did like a lime green. But the green looks cool. It goes from lighter green to darker green. The border on it is black, which I think like that works. They've got the 6 underneath for a Bill Russell homage. They got Red Auerbach's signature underneath as well. So they're paying homage to like some legends in the bottom. And then it's got Celtics in the middle, just a word mark. I think that looks nice, just as, I think better to use the word mark as opposed to like the leprechaun thing. I like that they did that. I think I would have liked it better if it was just like white outline with no border, just like straight block letters, like when they wear their green jerseys. I think that would be an improvement. But the big thing I do like about this is that they have utilized is the pattern. It's of their parquet floor that they normally do, but they've made it like really big to exaggerate it. And I think that looks really cool. So parquet floor, for anyone unaware, is like when you have like 4 vertical like lines
like
in a square panel.
Wood.
Yeah, it's like 4 vertical lines in a square panel, then 4 horizontal lines in a square panel, and then you like alternate with that back and forth. And that's what their wooden court has looked like forever. They like to, make a big deal of it. It does look cool. Parquet floors are cool. Can't hate on the truth. But I just think it looks nice. It would be higher on my list if the Celtics logo in the middle was just straight white, but I think it looks nice and very thematic. Like, you look at this and you're like, oh yeah, the Celtics. Oh yeah, I get it. Like, it's not like they're doing anything gimmicky or weird.
Right. What are the like rectangles on the sides? Do you know what that represents?
I think that's literally just where like cameramen and stuff have to sit. And I think they just look more jarring on this court because they are white as opposed to
Oh yeah, I guess that's on every court. I just didn't notice them.
Right. I think it's just standing out in this one because they're white.
Fair enough. All right. I'm as surprised as anyone that I'm going with this one, but I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets next.
They were my next one for the exact same reasonings as the Celtics, honestly.
Yeah, really, really cool. This one's kind of like an alternating diagonal pattern in scales of gray, which clearly the Nets love at this point. I do think, and maybe it's my colorblindness, Barclays Center is almost impossible for me to read. I think it might be
the light blue thing. Contrast is not significant enough. And maybe I'm also colorblind, which I am, but it is a little hard to read. But
Brooklyn Nets on both sides is written in the Subway font. I absolutely love that. Really clean looking. They've utilized that before. But the between the black outline and then the gray on the court, it's all working for me.
Yeah, I think it looks nice. Again, this is an homage to like their pattern of their home court. So I think it works really well. They've got the lighter gray to the darker gray in the middle. It works. I think it's good.
All right. What do you got next?
My next one, I have picked the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
I think this one is basically like worse version of the Sixers court because it's just got a whole bunch of stars. But I think for the Magic, it makes sense. It's going from darker gray to lighter gray in the middle. In this case, I like the gray. I know the gray is like a part of their logo, so it makes more sense. I've hated on them for jerseys in the past having the gray, but the court, I think it's okay. There's other teams that have gray courts that I didn't enjoy because like their logo isn't gray, so why are we doing this?
Right.
But I think with the star pattern, some of the stars are filled in, others are outlines. They've kind of got like 3 big rows of them that take up the whole design, and it just feels very thematic. I don't think it was as fun as some of the other courts. I wonder how this would look because they have the blue out of bounds and then the gray inner. I wonder how this would look in the reverse. I don't know if it would look better. I kind of just want to see it. But I think it's very, oh yeah, the Magic, I get it kind of court.
I enjoy the the Yahoo Sports verdict is very snarky. It says we'd give this design 3 stars, but someone already gave it 8. But yeah, it's not too bad. All right, my next pick is going to be I feel bad taking this, but the Knicks. I like
They were my next as well. Wow,
cool.
we're so in line for these past
here.
picks.
Other than the Rockets, which I actually had pretty far down just because I thought it was like kind of loud, but I do think it's cool.
Love it.
And as always, same
it makes
with the
sense
jerseys, like credit to anyone for trying.
Right. And look, me, the man with colorful pants, of course I would like the loud court. But yeah,
That's
take
true.
me through why you like the
You
Knicks
even
one.
have a colorful underside brim of your hat right now.
I do. Aha.
The next one is just, it's their classic orange and blue. So blue is the outline color, orange is the color in the middle. They have the New York City skyline in the background in a silhouette. They've got Madison Square Garden and, of course, the sponsor Chase, which is always plastered everywhere. There's not a lot going on that's that interesting. I just think the colors look really clean. I love the silhouette of the skyline. I like that they just went with the standard Knicks logo. They could have used like the old school one, but there probably wasn't a need for it. So, yeah, there's not that much to explain. I just think it checks all the boxes for me.
I think the problem is that the skyline doesn't look good enough. Like, I think it should be bigger. I don't understand why they did it this way. Like, I don't know if there's some thing of like you had to fit in these particular buildings or whatever, but it just feels too far away to where like some of the buildings get lost. Like the Empire State Building is like kind of snuck between the 3-point line and the center circle, and then the Chrysler Building's like falling behind the trophy in the paint by the free throw line.
Yeah, it's like maybe they could have made it bigger or something like that.
I think that's what you like cut it off to where like you have a huge Empire State Building and then a huge Chrysler Building. Like it seems like they could have like cropped this better. The orange does look nice. I like that the center orange is like the same color as the Knicks orange. And then I don't know if it's just the preview image or whatever. I think they'll play in these courts soon, if not tomorrow. Or no, I don't think it's a cup game tomorrow, but like they'll play on them soon, so we'll see. But I like that the outer ring of the orange doesn't look that different from the inner ring of the orange. So it almost looks like this is 2 colors as opposed to 3. And it just feels less distracting, which is good given that the orange is so bright. To have it be a less distracting situation, I think is good. But yeah, my big complaint here was that the skyline just didn't look cool enough. We have the coolest skyline. Why does this not look cool? Why does the Dallas skyline look cooler?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I think they just tried to fit in too many buildings. But yeah, that was my next pick anyway. All right. So what I'm going to pick next is the Minnesota Timberwolves court. I think this one is so close to being really cool. Honestly, this one's way better if you get rid of the word Timberwolves in the middle. I think it would be amazing. So it's light green. It goes from like darker to lighter from outside to inside. Then it's got like silhouettes of trees, very pine tree, wintry Minnesota looking trees. And then they have a darker version of their logo that they've utilized on it where it's like mostly like a gray, maybe a bluish gray with just darker outlines. And then you can just see the green in the eye of the wolf and then in the star that it's howling towards. So it's a not as like contrasty version, which I think blends in quite well.
Yeah.
But just the font of Timberwolves is then kind of superimposed behind the logo and behind the NBA Cup trophy, which is behind the logo on every single court. So all you can see is TIM and then half of a B and then part of an O and then LVES. So it just looks weird. I think this court would look so much better without the text Timberwolves behind it. It would have been probably top 10 for me.
I just don't like lime green.
Yeah, I mean, it's like part of their color scheme, so I respect it at least, and it looks different. But yeah, just the text just ruins it. It just ruins it for me.
All right, my next pick is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh my God, that was my next pick.
Wow, I love it. Yeah, this one is, I guess, kind of similar to the Nets in terms of being more like grayscale-ish, but you have the logo of the bear itself, the grizzly bear, in the middle of the court, and then you have MEM written in that kind of cool, it's like vertical, horizontal, vertical, MEM written out in like kind of a funky looking. It's not even a font, really. It's like they use
lines just made up of
spell.
3 vertical lines, and the E is made of 3 horizontal lines, and you have to tell yourself like, oh, right, that's an M and E and an M.
Right, but then they also use that all the way down the bottom part of the court, and I think that's a really cool look as well. I've always liked the font of Memphis Grizzlies. They have Memphis on the left and Grizzlies on the right, but yeah, thought it was pretty good. We're getting into like the bottom half of the courts here, but I liked it.
My thoughts are similar. I love the MEM. I think it works really well when it's really, really big. I like the bordering. I just wish they did light blue court gray background.
Kind of like the Magic, right? Like it might have been interesting to see the inverse.
Right. Or even like, I just don't get why they're using so much gray, especially because their Grizzlies logo, it's like dark blue, light blue, and yellow. So why couldn't this be either dark blue, light blue, or yellow? Why do we have to bring in their 4th color gray into the mix? Like it just feels drab to me. Okay, my next pick, I will be picking the Detroit Pistons, mainly because it's a, well, at least you did something different selection. I don't think it looks particularly good, but they have done a collage of all of their current logos. So it's not old ones, it's all the current ones. So you have like Big Detroit, you have like a 313, I think, which is their area code. It could be a different one, but it's hard because the NBA Cup is blocking part of it.
I know that's their area code because it's famously used in 8 Mile. Everybody in the 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me.
There we go. But yeah, they just have like a bunch of different ones. Things are off center, which I think is kind of fun. Like the circle logo is not in the middle of the circle. There's things that like cross over into multiple of the different colors. Their background goes from light blue to dark blue in the middle.
This was my last pick.
Oh,
so much visual noise. It's like very much like graphic design is my passion sort of vibe.
Sure. I guess for me, when we're getting into the bottom 10 territory, I was like, well, at least you did something different. You didn't just throw Pistons behind it. Like you did something, and I think it's kind of fun. I think this one will look cool on the TV broadcast. I'll have to watch a Pistons game with the NBA Cup to see.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point, actually, because we're looking at the aerial view of all these, which you never see when you're actually watching the game. You see it like from the side. So that's kind of part of it as well.
And I just think, especially because some of the like Detroit and Pistons are so big that like on the court, like, I don't know, you could have like 2 guys standing within 1 letter. I think it's going to be pretty cool to look at, but I just think they did something different, and we are getting into boring town.
By the way, did you see how the Pistons won their game last night?
Oh yeah, with a Eric Spoelstra accidental timeout when we don't have anything left. Yeah, dramatic. After a really good play by them, so they did the alley-oop to tie it, and then Spoelstra calls a timeout when they don't have any, and then the technical foul, they make the free throw, they win. And Jalen Rose was in attendance.
I know, they showed him, and his face said it all.
Distraught. Flashbacks
very
to
triggering.
when the Fab Five did it with Chris Webber. My goodness. Alrighty, yeah.
All right, my next pick is going to be the OKC Thunder.
Oh yeah, I think they might have been one of my next picks. But yeah, I'll explain. But give me your thoughts.
So similar sort of vibe to what I was saying about the Pelicans, where like they have a logo and then behind it the same logo, but it's big enough and like stretched out enough that it doesn't quite seem like it. So they have the OKC logo in the middle, which is I don't even know how you would describe that. It's like a basketball in a.
It's a basketball in a shield with like motion stripes, is how I would say.
Right. And then, you just have like a silhouette version of that behind it, kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I also think Oklahoma City Thunder is written in like a very small font, like weirdly small.
It is tiny.
But yeah, there's not much going on here, but I was a fan. I've now picked, I think, all 3 of the like logo behind the logo ones, so I guess I like them.
I like this one because they've used just a part of the logo. It's not like the full straight logo. They've only taken the shield portion. So there's no stripes and there's no OKC lettering. So I like what they've done. I just had it lower because like their logo sucks. So like the work that they've done is the work that they have done is cool. but their logo is crap. So like they have done a great thing, just the tools were horrible. So yeah, I see. My next pick, I will be taking the Los Angeles Lakers. This is just like, I like going with Skyline. I just don't think that it looks as good. It's like yellow in the background, goes from lighter to darker in the middle. Kind of like the Knicks one, the darker yellow in the middle looks very similar to the medium one. So this looks like one big circle to me, or at least my colorblind eyes. What's cool is they have all of their NBA championships in stars on the bottom, which is cool. They normally have those around the circle in the center of their court. So it's fun to like incorporate that. I just don't think that this...
I'm guessing you don't love the crypto logo.
Crypto logo sucks. They've made it like purple, so it's like super contrasting. Like you can't miss it. And I think the biggest thing though is just like the skyline doesn't look that cool. There's palm trees that are taller than buildings, which looks kind of strange to me. I feel like, and maybe it's just because I like don't know enough of like iconic LA buildings where I don't see the skyline and I'm like, hell yeah, dude. But I kind of feel like this would be better if they did, you know, like when they have those like iconic drives where it's just like palm trees down a road kind of thing. I just think they could have like done just palm trees or something, or just made the skyline look a little cooler. I just think it's similar to the Knicks one. It's like too small and it gets lost in the design.
Fair enough. My next pick is the Washington Wizards.
Okay, I had them almost next.
This is very much a good job trying, and congratulations on the effort. They have the Washington basketball logo in the middle. They've got the District of Columbia on both sides. And then behind the main logo, they have another series of circles with a cartoon hand reaching for a basketball, which is like their old school logo. And I say, good on you for trying a little bit.
Yeah, this one will look ridiculous to anyone.
Like slogan this year.
This one will look ridiculous to anyone who doesn't know the old logo. They'd be like, why is there this strange clip art hand? I think this one will look very funny on the broadcast, but I like it. And I like that the outer ring is pink, kind of like they had those pink jerseys. So
yeah,
I think it's all right. This is close to me. My next pick, I'm going to pick the Phoenix Suns. It's fine. It's orange in the background. Has their old like PHX logo that they use in like the Steve Nash era, and then the sun in the middle. I really just picked this one because I like that they use two different logos. The logo in the center is different from the logo behind it. The gradient thing at the bottom felt like a nice try for trying thing. It should have taken up the whole court, but it's like this weird like the valley kind of colors that they've used in their valley things. But it looks like, you know, when you buy a packaged product and they have like the thing in the bottom that like where the printer is clearly like testing all the colors. It looks like one of those, or like when you do a printer test to make sure your ink is still working. It kind of looks like that because it doesn't take up the full bottom. So I think they could have done better. It's fine.
Yeah. My next pick is going to be the Sacramento Kings. Fine. I wish they had done more of like a light the beam sort of thing rather than Sacramento Proud, which like means nothing. Like Sacramento Proud sounds like something that you would share after a tragedy has befallen your city. Like, it's just kind of a weird thing to say. They have the Kings logo in the middle, which is like a fine logo. And then how would you describe what the rest of the court is? Because it's like these zigzag lines that I guess are in the same vein.
It's the crown. It's the outline of the crown at the top of their logo, and then it just gets like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't like how it looks.
It's very drab too.
The gray is boring. The golden one center being yellow with a black outline really pops, which I don't love. I think they fumbled the bag here. They've been doing this motif because they did it back in their older jerseys and they're bringing it in more with like the racing kind of checkers. The background should have just been racing checkers. What are we doing? Like, you've been using this in your jerseys. You're making it more of a thing. Like, make your background racing checkers. It was so obvious to me. So yeah, I had them kind of low because I was angry at them. My next one is I'm going to pick them Miami Heat. I think this one's like it was like I see what you're going for, but like why did you do it like this sort of situation? It's yellow, gold. It's like gold in the background, which I think does like work nicely with their color scheme because they've got like the gold in the tip of the flame and the red outline. Like color wise, it looks great, but the flame, it just feels like they could have shifted it up more. Like it seems like they're trying to keep the very top of the flame to not run off the top, but it makes it not look like there's a lot of flame on the court. You have to really look and be like, oh, it's the flame. So I feel like they should have moved it up and then been okay with some of it getting cropped off. So I like the colors, but the design sucks.
Yeah, that's fair. My next one, I guess, is like kind of in the same color range, which is the Atlanta Hawks. Again, we're at the point where like we don't like any of these. I
had this very low. I had the second to last.
I like that they had the old school Hawks logo because I prefer that logo. And then they just have a huge ATL in like kind of shadow letters, almost in a way that it's hard to read. Like it's not.
Yeah,
none of it is
it's
great.
hard to read, especially because the T is directly in the center. So the cup is bigger than the T in terms of the width of the center bar of the T.
It's a cup of tea.
Oh my gosh. But it's just hard. You're right. It's hard to read. Like it's so pale, it's hard to read. And then the True to Atlanta at the bottom is in like a very small, boring looking font. And it's just like, nah, don't love it. Okay. My next pick is the Utah Jazz, which is like, the design is great. The color, just being the gray, is so boring. So it's just like light gray to dark gray. And then their logo is just a plain white of the Jazz Note J, which is one of the coolest, if not the coolest logo in the whole league. Like it's such a cool one, but it's just white with a gray outline, and then it's just gray, and then they have a mountain in the background. So like if it's this but purple, it might be my number one pick, but it's this and it's gray, so it sucks.
Yeah, and mountains are just like, we get it. You got a lot of mountains. We hear you.
Which is fine, but like where's the purple? You're purple and gold. Why is this gray? Ugh. Especially because the whole thing is like you have to have the NBA Cup in the middle, which is gold, and then you have to have the NBA Cup design in the paint. So like, why not make this purple and it'll look like a Jazz core? Like you have gold in your color scheme. What are you doing? Ugh, made me really sad.
Totally fair. My next pick is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
There's just not a lot going on. They've got the C for Cavaliers in the middle. Then they have, I guess it's like is it like a version
Here's
of
what
part
it
of
is.
a net? What is that?
In the old Cavaliers jerseys, when they spelled Cavs, the V was the basketball net. So what they've done is they've gone, oh, it's the V from our old jerseys is taking up the thing. But the V's just a basketball net. So this looks like it could be the Nets court.
Yeah, I guess I appreciate the intention, knowing that that's what they're trying to do. And then it just says, let them know.
Let them know. It sucks. I hated let them know.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's close to being good. Again, this is another one where like gold is part of their design. So like it does look nice color wise, but just like the big net, it just looks weird. Like this one, I don't know. It's close to working for me, but I think this one only works if you know what they're doing, because they've made the net so big, which they have done to like make it fit around the circle, which does look nice, but it's so big that it doesn't come to a point enough by the time it gets to the side. So like if you were looking at this and you wouldn't really know it's a net. Like I only was able to really pick on this because I know what their old logo looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
so I feel like
I know things pretty well, and I didn't pick up on it.
Yeah, this one feels very cool if you're a Cavs fan and not cool if you're not. So to me, I had this like it felt like the Pacers Boom Baby one to me. Looking more of it, I could probably have this one a little higher because like the color of the C is the same color as their background circle. So like coherently, it does work well with the golden stuff, but I don't know. It just feels like the C kind of gets lost in the trophy. Like it should have been bigger, right? Because the gold in the C is the same gold as one of the golds in the trophy. So it kind of gets like lost a little bit. And the net thing just felt weird to me. So yeah. Especially because the net kind of looks like the pattern of the NBA Cup. So it almost feels like an NBA Cup branded fully court. I don't know. I didn't love it.
No, not great. All right, we only have two left. What's your final pick?
Two left. So my 29 pick is the San Antonio Spurs. It's fine. It's like dark gray.
Give us the Fiesta colors.
Give me the fucking Fiesta. God, so upset. But they did use their alternate, like it's the outline of Texas, and then a spur comes in, and then the point like is near where San Antonio is. So like fun, but it's just I don't like how it looks with the other Spurs logo, because you have just like. They both utilize the pointy spur design, but they're not the same. Like it's one of those, like they're not different enough to where one being superimposed over the other looks cool, like the Clippers one. And they're not identical to where like the Bulls one, I think, look better because at least it is the same thing twice. It's like weird that they're close to being the same, but not the same. Yeah, I don't love it. And then they, similar to the Suns, they did like a pattern thing on the bottom, but they just did a grayscale version of like a traditional like San Antonio or like Southern inspired pattern, some sort of heritage pattern.
And also, why is it only in like the middle third of the court?
That must be some sort of like official thing that like a design there can't go past it, because I guess like chairs will be there or something, because that's exactly where this Phoenix one stopped. So it feels like that is like how far they can go. Kind of like how the logo has to stop at a certain point, because then the other side is a sponsor logo of sorts. But yeah, I just didn't like it. The gray sucks.
Yeah, which means that our last pick is the Golden State Warriors. And
Was this your last one? Because I had this one 30th easily. I hate this court.
I had this one second to last. I had the Pistons last because I just couldn't handle all the visual noise. Also, I noticed that whoever wrote the Yahoo article is very snarky, because the comment on the Pistons one was, needs more logos.
I think it's fun.
So this one, I guess this is the Warriors' new logo. It's terrible.
I have no idea. That's why I'm so angry about it.
It looks like the Washington Commanders football team. Sad football reference.
Yes. It looks like that. And then also, isn't there some like movie production company that uses a W like this? Like,
Warner Brothers? I don't know. I mean,
it's not Warner Brothers.
Let me just say, this W is a big L.
It sucks. It sucks.
Awful. I really
If you
hate
do
it.
look at it, it does look like it is made up of 3 L's next to each other. So it does kind of look like it's a big L.
Yeah, it is irredeemably bad, and I hate it, and it deserved to be last.
I really don't like it. I watched the game that they were playing last night on it. It sucks. Like the gray is awful. Gray has no business being in the Warriors anywhere at all. Like
totally agree.
They've got their blue and the yellow is so iconic. They've utilized red before in older jerseys that they're bringing back now into like a hardcore classics kind of thing. They've like gray has just never really been a thing, except for when they've done like charcoal or black. But like this light gray, it sucks. And on TV, it looked horrible. And this W is weird. I've never seen this W anywhere else before. I don't know if it's an old logo. I have not seen it on any jerseys. I don't know what it is. It sucks. This made me really angry. And it also stinks that this iconic game, the Klay return game, Steph ending it in such dramatic fashion, will forever be immortalized with this bullshit court behind it.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's awful. Well, that was our draft. Maybe we can do another thing like you've been posting on social media where you ask the folk like who had the better team. But I think it was fun to go through these. Love doing it. And hopefully patrons enjoyed the visual thing. I will now stop the screen recording for the patrons and stuff, and we'll close out the episode. Thanks for listening to this episode of Horror Sources, hosted by Adam Mamawala and Mike Schubert. Our editors, Kenzie Saramaki. The music is by Bettina Kapawanis. The art is by Allison Wakeman. And the website is by Kelly Schubert. And the social media is by both of the Horse Boys.
Thank you to our producer-level patrons, Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Doka Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed, Steph Curry, Put Klay to Sleep. I like to believe that that's how Mike Breen dreams.
Oh, he has to. Yeah, he's got one of those like hats with the ball at the end, and yeah, exactly.
Hi, Trish, Chase Underula, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby as a vampire, Chelsea's cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, and Mats Furli. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Horse Hoops and on Twitter at Horse_Hoops because
Horse Hoops designed the Warriors court. And you just gotta get rid of him, man. It's so bad. It's so bad.
You can go to our website, horsehoops.com, for links to all of the visuals of the courts if you're only listening to this, and much more.
And if you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/horsehoops, you can see us go through the whole Zoom call of this with the screen recording everything, so it can make the most sense to you possible. You can also see our bright, shining faces, but you can also get access to other bonus content.
No, you cannot. You can see me wiping my nose for half an hour.
If you want the mucus content, get on over to Patreon. Brutal. That's what we're giving the folks. But there's a bunch of other good stuff.
People are going to unsubscribe.
We lost 35 patrons yesterday. But that's also where we'll be posting the things about the new wave of Patreon now that we're switching to monthly, I believe, going from December onward. Did I maybe say October in the previous thing when I said starting in? I might have meant starting in December. If I said starting in October, my brain is fried. The world is scary. But we're
just trying to go back to October and do this thing all over again.
God, please. So we're going to now close this episode out by putting our hands in the middle and saying something on the count of 3. Do we have anything?
Well, gosh, I don't know. You know what? We kind of didn't talk about anything in the world this episode, and that's fine. But it is, I think, for a lot of people, ourselves included, and for many people listening, probably not the happiest time.
So here's what I would say.
Yeah,
Comboing with that and this episode coming out before Thanksgiving, we could just say thanks. Because we're thankful to have our listeners. I'm thankful to have distractions right now. Maybe it's reciprocal. People are listening to some podcasts to not have to think about, oh crap, what's going to happen.
I was going to try, I like thanks. I was going to try to manifest something that feels unattainable right now, but I was just going to say better times ahead.
Oh, I don't know that there are going to.
I'm trying to manifest it. I don't believe it.
We've had too many post 1, 2, 3 jinx things where I think thanks is a safer choice.
Okay. We all have things that we can be thankful for, no matter what.
Right. So on the count of 3, we will say thanks. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks. But also no thanks in other ways.
Yes. Correct.
Bye, everybody.